What about if all the hypotheses for the location of Ithaca have been wrong? Hi, and welcome to the second video in my channel, homeros.world. I can still not reveal the results, but I can tell you a little bit about the background so you know where I'm coming from and why you should stick around and subscribe to my channel and to the website. And by the way, there is now a map on the website of all the sites that until now have been suggested as the sites of Ithaca, Odysseus Ithaca, as opposed to the island, the Greek island in the Ionian Sea by the same name. Now let me tell you where I come from. I'm a doctor in physical geography, so I study nature. I've published about the paleogeography, the processes that shape the landscape, especially here in Northern Europe, but also in North America. And I've worked in Latin America as well with projects. So I come from the perspective of trying to understand the past. And once I had a clear idea of how the landscape was formed and what the land looked like, I started to think about how did the people live? Because physical geography and human geography are intimately related. People don't act in a vacuum. They act in the geographical reality where they live. There is a reason why there is a city where there is a city, and there are different reasons. There is a good book, I forgot the name, The Economy of Geography or something like that. No, The Geography of Economy. I'm not a human geographer, but I read that book because you have to understand how it's all connected in order to understand where people choose to live in the past and why. So that's what I studied. And then I started to take an interest in the human geography, and I read about prehistory, archaeology, and I also started to read about myths. For instance, these Robert Graves, Greek myths, and Irish mythology. And eventually I came in, also obviously, as you can see, it's very well read. It's falling apart. The Edda, Nordic mythology. So in that I started to come across in the Greek myths eventually the Iliad and Homer, which is not so much myths. This is later. This is more historic, the Iliad. And I came across a book by Felice Vinci, Homer in the Baltic, published in the 1990s and in English in the 2000s, where he presents the hypothesis that a lot of the story, based on the idea that a lot of the observation, I should say, that a lot of the landscape, the physical features in the world of the Greeks was in the north, not in the Mediterranean. For instance, the midnight sun. And based on that, he suggested that all these events took place in the Baltic area, Scandinavia and the North Sea and the Baltic Sea area. I quickly went out and tested a couple of locations that he had proposed, and I saw that the locations were wrong, but the general area could have been right. His proposal for Ithaca is Iliad in Denmark, and that is on the map I just uploaded. Other locations are the Azores, the Portuguese islands in the Atlantic, near Cadiz in southern Spain, an island west of Sicily, and the rest are proposals in the Ionian Sea that have been made until today. And the most close to Troy is one that says just close to Troy. I don't have the exact location. So anyway, that's where I come from. And after having concluded that his identification of the site of Troy of Ithaca was incorrect, I made my own investigation as a physical geographer. It didn't take me long to find another better candidate, but it has taken me decades to wait for the internet to be developed. Now we have an internet with a lot of information and data at our fingertips. Today it's rather easy to solve the puzzle. A puzzle that people have been trying to solve for thousands of years. Thanks to the internet and thanks to modern science, it's now easy. So that's where I come from. And by the way, when I was doing this, I also read Plato as a side, and there I found the information about the Atlantis, the original tale in Critias, and I forgot the other name of it, of the Atlantis. And that wasn't hard to figure out what that was. So using modern geography, modern methods, GIS, Geographical Information Systems, and the knowledge we have from geology and so on, it is quite possible to understand these old tales. And it turns out that it's not fairy tales, it's history. A lot of the mythology too. The people have been trying to interpret it as superstition. No, it's not superstition, it's history. The problem is that when you don't know the geographical context, everything seems weird. But I have deciphered the geographical context. And I will publish that. Now, you may ask, why don't I just publish it? Well, you see, it has to be published in a book form first. I can't just throw it out there for copyright reasons. And then maybe you ask, why don't I publish it scientifically? Well, the reason is that there is an economical system behind scientific publishing, and that is the scholar gets paid for doing the research, and he pays society back by publishing it scientifically. Or if it's a young upcoming scholar, he publishes it in order to get credentials with which to apply for an academic job, tenure. I'm retired and I paid for all of this research myself, so I have no economical incentive whatsoever to publish this scientifically. That's it. So therefore I won't publish it scientifically. I will publish it as a book. Or several books probably, because having deciphered this, it's like opening the Gordic knot, or opening Pandora's box. Everything that we thought we knew about European prehistory is not wrong, but it's completely different than what people think. It's just a matter of time before somebody else is going to find out the same thing. So I'm now writing as fast as I can to get this out there and get you a story that will blow your mind. So subscribe.